Hi everyone and welcome back to Maths and Physics with Mr. Simons, where we make maths and physics simple and get you exam ready. Today's lesson on algebraic expression, we're looking at the third variation of the 7 that we're supposed to teach in class. Right, so still finding products, but now we're going to look at multiplying binomial by binomial. Unlike in variation 2, they are not the same terms in both brackets, or the signs are different. So it's not that straightforward as difference of squares, right? And take note, this is classwork. We still have to go work through the exam questions. So you can see how we vary the questions based on what we've done in class, so you don't get caught out in the exam. Right, so for products by inspection, or binomial by binomial, you can see they have two terms, it's separated by plus sign, and they have another two terms, 3a plus 6b. They're not the same, so both brackets have two terms, either separated by plus or minus sign. Now the first terms in each bracket is 2a and 3a, so you see there, those are the first. Right, my outer terms are the two at the end, so there my outer terms are 2a and 6b. Right, then I have my inner terms, which is 3b and 3a. And then I have the last terms, which is 3b and 6b. Right, now if we spell that out, it spells the word FOIL. Right, so taking the first letter of each word, we create the word FOIL. We multiply in this order, and remember that the products of the inners and outers are like terms. So outers and inners will form like terms. They're AB and AB. They must be added. It's relatively easy to find the products. In short, when we multiply this out, my final answer should be 3 terms, binomial by binomial. Alright, so let's look at what I'm stating. So multiplying binomial by binomial, we have 2a plus 3b, 3a plus 6b. So if I take my first, that would be 2a times 3a. Right? Outers, positive times positive is positive, 2a times 6b. Inner, positive times positive stays positive, 3b times 3a. My last terms, 3b, positive times positive stays positive, 3b times 6b. So 2 times 3 gives me 6, a times a gives me a squared. 2 times 6 gives me 12, a times b. 3 times 3 gives me 9, a times b, ab. 3 times 6 gives me 18, b times b is b squared. So there's a 6a squared, but if we look through all four terms, there's no other a squared, so 6a squared stays. 18b squared, there's no other 18b squared, so 18b squared stays. But here for the two in the middle, you see there, that's ab and ab. Right, so this is like saying 12 apples plus 9 apples will give me how many apples, right? So my like terms both have ab, so 12 plus 9, ab. That then becomes 6a squared. 12 plus 9 is 21ab plus 18b squared. This whole process on the top you don't need to do because we give you in exam technically the 3 marks. It's given for 6a squared plus 21ab plus 18b. But you have to get used to this process before you can go straight from there straight to the answer. Right, so we're going to be working through the process. This is to make sure you get used to and you can do the sum quicker, so that if you get to more complex problems, you actually have more time to solve it. Right, so let's look at the second problem. We have 4p plus 3q in brackets times 3p minus 6q in brackets. So bracket and bracket, no plus or minus sign in between there. Therefore, we know we're dealing with multiplication. So my first terms are 4p and 3p. So 4p times 3p. My outer term is 4p and 6p, but positive times negative is negative. Then 4p times 6q. My inners is the 3p, or the 3q and the 3p. So positive times the positive gives me positive. And I have 3q times 3p. Then I have positive times negative, which is negative. Then 3q times 6q. Alright, I assume you know 4 times 3 gives me 12. P times P simply becomes P squared. Negative stays negative. 4 times 6 is 24. PQ. Positive stays positive. 3 times 3 gives me 9. PQ. Negative stays negative. 3 times 6 would give me 18. And Q times Q then becomes Q squared. Again, P squared is on its own, so I can carry that down. Minus 18Q squared is on its own, I can carry that down. But PQ there and PQ are like terms. So this becomes minus 24 plus 9, which then gives me negative 15 PQ. So my final answer, 12P squared minus 15PQ minus 18Q squared. 1 mark for each correct term. And that is 3 marks in exam. Right, now in this next problem, again, multiplying binomial by binomial. But now both terms or both brackets have a negative sign in it. So first bracket states 7x minus 4, second one 6x minus 2. Very important, in between the two brackets there's no plus or minus sign, so therefore it's definitely multiplication. So my first terms is 7x and 6x, so therefore 7x times 6x. My outer terms on the outside of the brackets is 7x and negative 2. So positive times negative 2 gives me negative. And that becomes 7x times 2. My inners is 4 and 6x. So negative times positive gives me negative. Becomes 4 times 6x. My last terms is negative times negative, which is positive, and it becomes 4 times 2. 7 times 6 would give me 42. X times x, x squared. 7x times 2 gives me 14x, and that negative times that positive simply becomes negative. So it's negative 14x. There, 4 times 6x would give me 24x, and a negative times a positive simply stays negative. I assume you know 4 times 2 gives me 8. Alright? Now there, x and x you should see are like terms, but they're both negative. So if I take out the negative, I'm left with 14 plus 24, which then becomes negative 38. So 42x squared, I can carry straight down. There's no other x squared given. And 8 I can carry straight down because there's no other constant term. So the first and the last term, generally I carry straight down, and I add the middle terms, which in this case is minus 38x. And that is where I get my 3 marks for each correct terms. Right, so this is basic classwork. As I said, all these variations I'm doing, we're can put them in what I call combined products. We're gonna try to catch you out and so on. But I know you're gonna work through the exam questions that is already on here, and others that will still upload further for you. So that at the end of the year, you get the best possible marks when English is no more Englishing. Right? God bless. Bye.